Hello, we're gonna look at the bones of the pelvic girdle, and we're gonna learn how to tell the male from the female using some of the differences between the male and the female girdles. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to try to learn some of the names of these bones. And so when we talk about the pelvic girdle, we need to know that the pelvic girdle is made up of two bones, and each bone is named coxal bone. And when we look at the coxal bone, each coxal bone is actually made up of three bones. And in this view, we see the two coxal bones. So this is a coxal bone, that's a coxal bone. And when we look at the coxal bone, the bones that are shown on the ventral side of the body or in the anterior view, and I'm pointing to one of them, that's the pubic bone. So that's one of the pubic bones, and next to it is there's the other pubic bone. In between the two pubic bones, we have a cartilage. That cartilage represents an example on a joint, and that joint is known as pubic symphysis, and it's a joint that allows slight movement, and for that reason it's classified as inferior arthrosis type of joints. Now, the posterior side of the coxal bone is the ischium bone. So again, there are two ischial bones. That's one of the ischial bones. That's the other ischial bones. And those are the bones that we basically sit on. And then the top two bones in here represents the ilium bones. So each coxal bone have one ilium bone. Some of the other structures that you see on this model in here belong to the vertebral column. So these two here, this one and the one below it, that represents the two vertebrae of the lumbar region. So these basically represents L5 and L4. Then below that we have the sacrum, and at the end of the sacrum we see the coccygeal bones, and in this view those are the coccygeal bones, which we commonly refer to as the tailbone. In between the bodies of the L4 and L5, we have a cartilage in here. That cartilage represents also a joint, and this joint is known as the intervertebral disc. And similar to the pubic symphysis, this joint also allows for slight movement. So it is an example on inferior arthrosis type of joint. One of the easy way to tell the difference between the male and the female is you look at the angle between the two pubic bones, which is called the pubic arch. In the male, the pubic arch is narrow and long. When you compare that to the female, you would notice that in the female, the pubic arch is wider and the angle is larger. So that's one of the easy way to tell the difference between a male and a female pelvis is comparing the pubic arch.